Yes.
I have honestly lost count now of how many times the president has demanded I be pulled off the air. I mean, talk about a snowflake, this guy. Every 5 weeks, he flips out and wants me fired. If you got this many threats from a neighbor, you'd have no problem getting a restraining order. The judge would be like, yeah, it sounds like the guy's nuts.
Let's be clear. The President of the United States has called for the execution of members of Congress. No president has ever stooped that low. No president has ever encouraged violence the way this president has.
What you're about to witness is the verbal equivalent of a fireworks show. And Trump was a firecracker. Jimmy Kimmel and Chuck Schumer joined forces. And the last time I saw teamwork like this was in an action movie where the villain loses his mustache. They didn't just destroy Trump. They left him Googling how to recover from a televised humiliation. But the twist is coming. Wait till you hear who jumped into the argument next.
And that's the thing about Donald Trump. This is not a man who wastes time on nonsense.
We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this on the grounds of the White House.
This is an executive order relating to the use of paper straws.
Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. I know a lot about reverse bathtubs. I've done it. You can't imitate gold, real gold. Now, nobody knows what magnets are. It's Lady Liberty. Did you ever hear of Lady Liberty? Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. The wind is blowing.
Earlier today, Donald Trump shared a post on Truth Social calling for Democratic members of Congress to be hanged. He also posted a message that said, seditious behavior, punishable by death.
Jimmy Kimmel didn't ease into the moment. He launched immediately into a satirical breakdown of Trump's theatrical grand entrances, the kind where every step is carefully timed-like. He expects fireworks just for existing. Kimmel described Trump as someone who wakes up each morning convinced the world has planned a parade in his honor and is deeply confused when there isn't one. It's
disturbing. You know, and you've done this before. You tried to get me fired in September. It didn't work, Mr. President. I admire your tenacity. If you're watching tonight, which I presume you are, how about this? I'll go when you go, okay? We'll be a team. Let's ride off into the sunset together like Butch Cassidy and the Suntan Kid.
Almost instantly, Chuck Schumer followed by entering Trump's world like a historian of buffoonery. He described Trump's public persona as a never-ending victory tour. Even during moments where nothing had been won, the satire centered on Trump narrating life as if every mundane moment was a triumph, signing papers like a monarch, waving like a king, sitting like a champion.
We've already seen what happens when Donald Trump tells his followers that his political opponents are enemies of the state. Every time Donald Trump posts things like this, he makes political violence more likely. None of us should tolerate this kind of behavior. We all remember what January 6th was like. We lived through January 6th. We have lived through the assassination and attempted assassinations this year. We have members whose families have had to flee their homes. When Donald Trump uses the language of execution and treason, some of his supporters.
Kimmel returned, doubling down with comedic reenactments of Trump's exaggerated posture. He mimicked the signature chin lift, the puffed-out chest, the victory pose, as if Trump believed oxygen itself was applauding. Kimmel framed Trump as someone who assumes every camera loves him, even when he's not on one. In his retelling, Trump walks into rooms like he expects a choir to start singing about him, and when that doesn't happen, he mentally inserts the soundtrack himself.
He has his minions at the FCC now launching what they call a review of the relationship between TV affiliates and the TV networks, no doubt because of what happened last time they tried to strangle me. He's threatening ABC News. He's been trying to get Seth Meyers fired. And we learned today from The Guardian that Trump's billionaire buddy Larry Ellison and his son David Ellison, who are the biggest stockholders in Paramount and are now competing to buy CNN. The Guardian reported that Larry Ellison had a call with the White House during which they engaged in dialogue about firing some of the CNN hosts Trump doesn't like.
Schumer responded with a detailed roast of Trump speeches, not the words, the attitude. He painted a picture of a man who treats every sentence like an award acceptance moment, delivering statements with the gravity of life-changing announcements, even when nothing actually happened. In Schumer's version, Trump could read a weather update and somehow make it sound like a proclamation of greatness. It wasn't aggression. It was pure comedy through observation of theatrical self-importance.
I want to be very clear. The job is not done. The vote is not the end, it's only the beginning. Once the president signs the bill, he must apply and execute it faithfully. There must be no funny business from Donald Trump. He must not use the excuse of frivolous investigations to release some Epstein documents while intentionally hiding others that deserve to be seen.
Kimmel jumped back in by describing Trump's obsession with applause as a need more essential than food or shelter. He portrayed Trump's scanning rooms for approval like radar, tracking admiration like lifeblood. The comedy wasn't mean. It was a vivid exaggeration of the public showmanship Trump brings everywhere. In that version of reality, Trump collects compliments like currency and considers silence a hostile act. Schumer shifted toward Trump's press conference demeanor, narrating it like a sports commentator, reviewing a highlight reel of overconfidence. Trump adjusts his tie like royalty, stands like a man measuring the room with an invisible ruler, and nods as if each gesture should be studied for historical significance. Schumer cast Trump as a character who believes every podium becomes a throne the moment he touches it. Kimmel continued by painting.
Also been a blow to Trump because some of his most loyal footlickers betrayed him. Lauren Boebert, Marge Green, even the certifiable Nancy Mace jumped ship on this one, and now she's bending over backwards to try to win him back.
My understanding, it was Donald Trump who came forward. He banned him from Mar-a-Lago. He allegedly, from that email, that he did sit down with authorities, or at least Epstein believed that he did and may have been a whistleblower. And if he did, thank God for Donald Trump. I don't know that there's anything this man cannot do in this country, leading us through healthcare crisis, quality of living and quality of life, the tariffs, protecting women and kids, protecting women in sports, all the things. There's nothing he can't do.
Except for a
Schumer countered by moving to Trump's online persona. He portrayed Trump scrolling through social media like a king inspecting royal messages, searching tirelessly for validation. According to Schumer's comedic spin, every positive sentence becomes a historical document, and every criticism becomes treason. The humor came not from cruelty, but from the grandiose scale at which Trump treats likes, tags, and mentions, as though the digital world were a scoreboard for destiny. Kimmel turned next to Trump's rallies, describing them not as political events, but as personal celebration festivals. In a comedic exaggeration, Trump arrives expecting statues, banners, and legendary status, and then mentally supplies them if they don't exist. Kimmel portrayed Trump as the main character in a movie only he believes is filming, walking through life convinced every milestone deserves a standing ovation. Schumer shifted to Trump's media interviews, where he painted Trump as someone who answers every topic, no matter how unrelated, with stories of personal greatness. In Schumer's comedy logic, Trump could be asked about gardening and still find a way to inform the world of his unmatched success. The point wasn't politics. It was a comedic image of Trump treating every microphone as an invitation to expand a myth of his own legacy.
This is not an invitation for Donald Trump to pick and choose his version of the truth. This bill is a command for the president to be fully transparent, to come fully clean, and to provide full honesty to the American people, even if he doesn't want to. So I want to be clear. Anything less than full transparency will be unacceptable in the eyes of the American people. If Donald Trump refuses to comply, if he refuses to obey the law, Senate Democrats will hold him accountable. We will exercise oversight. We'll demand transparency. We will make it clear to the American people that Donald Trump has broken his promise to come clean on Jeffrey Epstein.
Kimmel circled back with satirical vision of Trump's morning routine. In this exaggerated comedy world, Trump looks in the mirror not to check his reflection, but to congratulate it. Kimmel detailed a fantasy version of Trump, starting each day by awarding himself imaginary medals for achievements that haven't happened yet. It remained playful but brutal in its portrayal of relentless self-celebration. Schumer responded by roasting Trump's business persona in mythological terms. Instead of pointing to specific events or failures, he portrayed Trump as a character who views every deal as legendary regardless of outcome. In Schumer's heavy satire, Trump could trip on a step and still declare victory over gravity. The humor rested entirely on the larger-than-life self-confidence that never bends, even under the weight of contradiction. Kimmel returned to the physical comedy, describing Trump walking through spaces like someone convinced every wall should bear his portrait. He depicted Trump adjusting his suit like adjusting history, striking power stances wherever he goes and glancing around with the expectation that time itself should pause. Kimmel turned body language into a cartoon of unstoppable self-importance. Schumer delivered the next blow calmly. He described Trump's announcements not by content, but by the dramatic buildup, the suspense, the anticipation, the posture of man convinced the world is about to witness greatness. Schumer made it sound like Trump treats every declaration as a global moment, even when it's as simple as saying you like something. The humor focused solely on scale, not ideology. Kimmel continued with Trump's exaggerated storytelling style. According to Kimmel, Trump narrates events like epic sagas regardless of how ordinary they are. A golf swing becomes a feat of human excellence. A car ride becomes a historic procession. Kimmel leaned on the idea that Trump sees daily life as a highlight reel designed for the ages.
Trump hosted a black tie gala for the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, who also happened to be one of Jeffrey Epstein's good pals. According to the writer Michael Wolff, Epstein and MBS, as they call him, were so tight they would play video games together for hours. They went house hunting together. The prince got a shout out in that new batch of emails last week. Wolff says that when Epstein traveled to Saudi Arabia, they would get around the rules that make it difficult for unaccompanied women to enter the country by dressing his lady friends up as flight attendants with a knowing.
Schumer followed by describing Trump's dramatic reactions to being ignored in his comedic framing. Trump behaves like a spotlight-powered engine that sputters the moment attention shifts. He satirized Trump, treating distractions not with annoyance but disbelief, as if the universe made an error by focusing on something else. Kimmel returned to the idea of Trump rewriting memories instantly to maintain his heroic self-image. A story that didn't go his way becomes a triumphant tale the moment he retells it. Kimmel acted out this transformation like an instant remix of reality, turning missteps into milestones with pure willpower. Schumer provided the finale by satirizing Trump's legacy as Trump sees it, a grand shimmering monument visible only to him. In Schumer's telling, Trump looks back on every moment as a triumph. Every chapter is glory. Every decision is flawless. Not because history says so, but because his self-importance demands it. The closing punchline wasn't cruel. It was comedic inevitability. Trump is the star of a masterpiece only he can see, and the credits roll forever.
Donald Trump, he's a damn liar. What he said he would do in his campaign, he ain't doing. In fact, he's doing the opposite. He loves these billionaires, and he's cutting everything so he can cut their taxes. He's destroying government so there'll be no guardrails or barriers against them when they go after working people, when they go after the environment, when they go after consumers and gouge them. Donald Trump said he's as great a president as George Washington, but he much more is like Viktor Orban, the horrendous dictator.
Kimmel came back like he had discovered a whole new comedic layer to Trump's myth of eternal greatness. This time he focused on Trump's obsession with memorabilia celebrating himself. Kimmel described Trump as the kind of person who collects magazine covers like holy relics and displays them with the intensity of a sports fan guarding championship rings. In Kimmel's comedic world, Trump looks at posters of himself the way other people look at family photos, full of pride, nostalgia, and the unshakable belief that history owes him a permanent standing ovation. Every framed image was treated like a declaration of destiny, reinforcing the idea that Trump is the centerpiece of time itself. Schumer followed by satirizing Trump's habit of assigning heroic meaning to everyday tasks. In Schumer's exaggerated retelling, Trump could sign a simple document and mentally stage a reenactment with dramatic music and confetti. Schumer exaggerated this habit to the extreme, describing Trump filing paperwork with the swagger of a knight securing a kingdom, then rewarding himself as though he single-handedly advanced civilization. It wasn't anger or lectures, just comedic observation of how Trump turns even the smallest action into a moment of personal legend. Kimmel returned with a comedic depiction of Trump attending events with the attitude of a conqueror. To Kimmel, Trump walks into every building like an emperor disguised as a guest, nodding meaningfully at walls, chairs, chandeliers, and anything else that might appreciate greatness. The satire got sharper as Kimmel described Trump giving exaggerated approval to architecture, as if granting blessings to the unworthy. Trump didn't just enter places. He arrived mentally awarding status to everything fortunate enough to be near him.
Trying to move America in that direction. Our job is to stop him. Every corner of America that might oppose him, he's trying to crush, whether it be the universities or due process or the courts or anywhere else. The American people are wise to him. We're telling him every day how this guy's a liar. We're telling him every day how this guy's betraying them. I went to 6 of the 7 Republican congressional districts in my state and talked about Medicaid and talked about veterans and talked about Social Security and talked about the cost of tariffs. People are scared to death about what.
Schumer responded by skewering Trump's dramatic reactions to recognition, not when people overlook him, but when they praise him. In Schumer's telling, Trump accepts compliments with the silent expectation that monuments will soon follow. A simple commendation becomes a spiritual experience in Trump's mind, something future generations should study. Schumer exaggerated the self-importance until it became pure comedy. Trump hears praise like prophecy. Kimmel followed with a bit about Trump telling stories that grow more cinematic every time he remembers them. In this comedic universe, Trump can recount a routine phone call as if it were a turning point in world history. Every memory becomes a blockbuster. Every meeting becomes a legend. Every thought becomes a revelation. It wasn't cruelty. It was playful exaggeration of Trump's tendency to present everything he participates in as historic. Schumer then painted Trump's internal monologue like a constant awards show. In Schumer's satirical framing, Trump mentally announces his own achievements throughout the day like a master of ceremonies handing out trophies. Pouring a glass of water becomes a symbol of endurance. Sitting in a chair becomes a display of dominance. Simply appearing somewhere becomes a moment for civilization to be grateful. In Schumer's hands, Trump wasn't dangerous. He was hilariously mythologizing himself.
He wants every channel to be Newsmax. And this Newsmax, they are funny, man. Even the news in North Korea is like, it's too much. This morning, they rallied around Dear Miss Leader, defending him against this preposterous idea that I would in any way connect him to the Epstein files.
I want to listen to Kimmel's words on this, because what he said was in jest, but it wasn't. We finally get to find out if the president is linked to this. There are 50,000 documents. If there was something with the president, wouldn't we have seen it by now?
Absolutely. I mean, we had a very contentious election last year, and most certainly they would have diverged this information to the American public.
I think we just diverged from the English language.
Kimmel came back by portraying Trump's wardrobe choices as heroic costumes in his private fantasy. Every suit becomes ceremonial armor, every tie a battle ribbon, every jacket a coronation mantle. In Kimmel's comedic spin, Trump believes clothing isn't for fashion, it's for storytelling. The story always being his greatness. Kimmel described Trump adjusting collars and cuffs as though preparing for destiny, not errands. Schumer followed by describing Trump's tendency to narrate his own greatness, even internally. In Schumer's exaggerated world, Trump doesn't think private thoughts. He delivers mental speeches about his place in history. Every idea becomes a declaration. Every preference becomes a doctrine. Every whim becomes a commandment. The satire landed not because of hostility, but because of the image. A man constantly awarding himself gold medals in the silence of his own mind. Kimmel continued with a comedic observation of Trump's relationship with achievements he hasn't earned. In Kimmel's framing, Trump behaves like someone who sees success on the horizon and pre-celebrates so loudly that reality has no choice but to catch up or get drowned out. He described Trump popping metaphorical champagne before the race begins and waving triumphantly at imaginary crowds before the starting gun goes off. It was flamboyant, ridiculous, and perfectly on theme with self-importance as a lifestyle.